Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to Game Friday, the October 6th, 2017 edition of VR News, and absolutely a Game Friday. I've been splitting my time between Divinity 2, I am still hopelessly addicted to that game, and the Elite update, which I've been mostly doing with my Rift. That's kind of been my gaming week. That is going to be part of Game Friday. Then the rest of it, which should be a hell of a lot of fun, Dungeons and Dragons pen and paper classic with the ladies of the house, my wife and daughter. That should be a blast. It always is. Guys, let's get started, and we'll start things off with SculptrVR. SculptrVR has what they're calling their smooth update. It's essentially a from the ground up rewrite of the software. They're going to release it later this month. The video you see playing in the background shows the older current version of the software. According to designer Nathan Rowe in an email to Upload VR, the update is going to feature the following. For artists, the rewrite should enable them to make sharper edges and cleaner shapes in general, as well as be able to drill down into highly detailed models. You'll be able to fluidly switch between additive and subtractive sculpting. You're going to have the ability to create using a variety of materials, metal, clay, and glowing material comprised of pretty much any color that you can create. Unlike many other VR creation software apps, you can collaborate and share a world space with up to 15 other individuals. Next up, the US military and simulation companies, they've had a relationship going back decades. Often commercial simulations can be nothing like the military ones that they actually use. Sometimes code exists in commercial software that can actually unlock versions that are military friendly. Take Full Spectrum Warrior as an example, and sometimes they come close without needing codes, like with Arma 3, or as with America's Army, they can be initially developed by the military. Well, virtual reality ups the ante for realism and immersion, for simulation in general, and of course, the military taking absolute notice. The 2017 Military Virtual Training and Simulation Summit is going to allow the U.S. military, government agencies, educational leaders, and solution providers to come together in a town hall forum to discuss the current and future direction of virtual training and simulation. The program will incite discussions surrounding VR and simulation as a superior military training tool due to its cost effectiveness and pragmatic nature. Next up, one of my favorite gaming experiences came to me courtesy of Exity in the form of Trauma Center on the Wii. I'd go on to play the game on my 3DS as well. In it, you used your Wii controller and, if you're playing on the 3DS, your stylus to perform operations at a very basic level. But the game, to me, was a blast. It was fun as hell. Well, with VR, that type of gameplay can go beyond gimmicky controllers or controller types and start flirting with some real immersion. Now, myself and others have been talking about how much potential VR has for the healthcare sector in really countries across the globe. Well, Level X has secured $11 million in funding to create VR games targeting physicians. They see an emerging market that unites stakeholders in healthcare using the new medium of VR. They have 2 games out already. One is called Airway X, that has you performing airway procedures with fully interactive VR patients that breathe, bleed, and respond to medicine and equipment. The other game, Gastro X, allows you to diagnose, treat, and perform endoscopic procedures in the GI tract of virtual patients. Well, might not be a lot of fun for your layman, but for physicians, these games are designed to improve clinical decision-making skills and hone procedure skills in general. Moving to virtual reality, well, that should exponentially improve the results because you start flirting, like I said, with immersion that approaches realism in a way that 2D on a monitor or 3D on a monitor just can't replicate. And I've talked before about the genie being out of the bottle. And that's exactly where we're at, not going back anytime soon with advances like this. Speaking of non-gaming virtual reality, we covered the WaveVR earlier this year when we announced they had raised $4 million in seed round funding. The company, based in Austin and Los Angeles, has 8 full-time employees, number of contractors, and hosts virtual concerts that are best described as a real-life rave plus fantasy of what a rave could be like on the abstract level, all colliding in virtual reality. Their latest virtual world is a cel-shaded world created in collaboration with LA-based producer TOKiMONSTA, the cel-shaded world containing 50 minutes of music from TOKiMONSTA's album Lune Rouge. Adam Arrigo, who's the CEO and co-founder of the WaveVR, sums up the experience best as follows. Our goal is to create an experience that is impossible to have in reality. The best experience in VR are the ones that are hard to describe in words and consequently hard to capture with 2D video because they are truly native to the medium. In a VR music experience, music is only 1/3 of the experience. Visuals are as important or more, and then there's the interactive element. The Lune Rouge experience lets fans literally step inside the album and experience her music in a new interactive dimension. The world opens up for visitors Sunday, October 8th at 6 p.m. Pacific. You can purchase it on Steam. It works for the Vive and unofficially via the known workarounds for the Rift. What an amazing concept, being able to step into an album. And it's stuff like that I don't even think we have begun to tap into. And I use the general sense of we. I'm talking about the music industry. Traditionally, let's face it, those guys are usually a few steps behind pretty much the rest of the world when it comes to accepting and adopting new technology. But just imagine embracing this type of VR experience. Imagine being able to step inside Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon and experience it kind of in a way as you meet light visualizer or music visualizer plus VR. Like, talk about the ingredients for absolute frickin' awesome. Or Led Zeppelin 4, or really so many different albums that I can pull out of just a historical catalog that would just be amazing experienced like this. Really hope this type of thing takes off for VR. Can't wait to see what other companies and this company can come up with in the future. Well, guys, it is time to start my Gaming Friday. Hopefully you guys are as well. Get your gaming on. That's what Gaming Friday is all about. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Guys, as always, cheers.